After you, go ahead.
Got it. I'm going to put my hand here so I don't fall.
Here we are.
Wow.
Thank you. Well, guys, here we are, Rice Park, St. Paul, Minnesota, and we're with the Vulcans, right? And we're ready for Winter Carnival 2018 and Megasota game night tonight. So we're going to go sit down in this beautiful setting and this beautiful night with these great crew of guys. So come on, guys, let's go. Let's see.
Wow. How about we let them go?
Yeah, come on, yeah. You guys come on in.
I don't think I've ever made an entrance like that
No, that's
before.
a grand,
Wow.
that's quite an entrance. So are we ready, Ronnie? Are we on? Good. So have you guys ever seen an entrance like that before, Tony? I mean, come on.
No, we haven't. No, that is absolutely amazing.
Have you ever seen anything like that before in your life?
No, that was
So here
great.
we are, Vulcans, and we're with Vulcanus Rex, who's the top dog around these parts, and he's gonna introduce everybody for us, if you don't mind.
That'd be fine.
We have the big crew right here. Everybody's here.
I am Vulcanus Rex, the true king of the St. Paul Winter Carnival, the victorious king, the one who brings you summer, something we've all been waiting and wanting for a long time. Behind me is my mighty crew, the crew that makes it true in St. Paul. Here we have the Duke of Clinker. He is the longest running member of the crew. Here we have Flamius. He's our general. He sets up everything to make sure that we defeat Boreas well. Behind him is the Prince of Soot. Prince of Soot is the oldest member of the crew, and he is the one that keeps our memories alive. Our driver is Count of Ashes from 2016.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
And we have Sparky. He is just Sparky. Sparky is Sparky. We have Embrius. Embrius is better known as Evie, the youngest member of the crew. Then we have Fertilius. Fertilius is the member that has the most children. We have Count of Ashes for this year, who is the swinger of the crew.
And we have John and Jennifer right here. So
John and Jennifer.
Yeah. So Volk, tell us a little bit about what you guys do all year round. We know what you have an important role for Winter Carnival and getting rid of all this cold weather and snow. But what do you do all year round?
All year round. Well, following Carnival, we travel internationally. We go up to different festivals. Immediately following Winter Carnival, we'll go up to Canada and participate in the Winnipeg Voyageur Days, and we celebrate with them their festival. Following that, there's St. Patrick's Day, and then following that, we go down to Florida and participate in their festival. Then we participate in, how many parades were you guys in? 150, 200 parades?
200 at least.
200 parades throughout the summer season, bringing in the warmth of good old St. Paul.
Yep.
And then come fall, there's a festival in La Crosse, one of the 10 largest Oktoberfests in the United States, and they go down there and participate in Oktoberfest, and then we begin to prepare for the coming of Boreas in November, when we know winter's coming and we're saying, no, we're not going to have you do that.
So how does one become Vulcanus Rex?
It's incredibly
elected
difficult.
or-
Incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
One of these guys here, they're Vulcans. I was a Vulcan. And you have to be a Vulcan in order to become Vulcanus Rex. And at some point you're asked, would you be interested in being Vulcanus Rex? We have what's called the Council of Fire Kings, and the Council of Fire Kings then in turn decide who they want to represent them as Vulcanus Rex. It's a great honor.
No, I mean it absolutely is. And when you meet your crew, do you kind of choose who's going to be, Fertilius or Clinker, or what's that process?
Well, we look at each application. We get literally dozens of individuals who want to become Vulcans. From that, we whittle it down to maybe 24 individuals that we do background checks on, and from there we whittle it down to maybe 12 individuals we end up interviewing. With that, we have in the back of our mind people that will fit the character, and so we look at that, and from there then Vulcanus Rex decides who's going to be what character. And they may not know they don't know what their character is when they come in and get picked up right before Carnival, but they begin to fit and mold themselves right into that character. And by the end of the year, each of you are your character, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want to be anything else.
No.
How do you tell them that they've made it in?
They go through an interview process. Following the interview process, the Council of Fire Kings calls them up and says, congratulations.
Okay.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it sounds like it's a big time commitment for all you guys, right? I mean,
Oh, yes.
Winnipeg, Florida, LaCrosse. I mean, you're all over the place. I've
Busy.
seen you in St. Paul driving down, Summit, being crazy on the fire truck. You're doing, local parades, national parades. It's a big time commitment.
It is a time commitment and financial commitment. So it's not for the weary.
Right.
It's for the warriors, as I said.
Yes.
And these guys have proven themselves well this year.
So I understand Clinker does not sleep at all.
No, never goes to sleep.
No.
Goes to sleep.
Why is that, Clinker? How can you do that?
That's how you broke your arm. Lots of coffee. and
I'm
stuff
sure
like
there's
that.
a story behind that broken arm.
I'm sure there is. And so this year's Winter Festival, Winter Carnival, what are you guys looking forward? What's your favorite part of the Winter Carnival? Overthrow or victory?
Yeah, the overthrow. I mean, keep in mind, the Winter Carnival itself is always, it falls right on Midwinter's Day.
Okay.
Midwinter's Day is the first part of February, which is Groundhog's Day. So this is St. Paul's Groundhog Festival, where we say goodbye to winter and we usher in spring. We have a legend that's over 130 years old. It's one of the few legends of the United States that has two kings, and it's the battle between winter and summer, and summer. And in the story, King Boreas wants to keep St. Paul winter forever.
Okay.
And Vulcanus Rex says, that's not going to happen.
We're with you on that. We are.
I
we're
see
all
you wearing
ready to
red and
spring.
black, got the perfect colors
That's
on.
right.
Yeah.
And that tells Boreas, no, we don't mind a little bit of a festival. We're standing in front of a big ice palace. And as Vulcans, we can say, hey, that's fun.
Yeah.
But we hope it melts.
Right.
That's the reality. I don't want that to be there forever.
Right.
Boreas does. And so we really are the heroes. Boreas tries to make us out as the villain, but we're the heroes. We bring the fun back to St. Paul, and we tell the story of St. Paul spreading good cheer.
Now, and about spreading good cheer. Been down on 7th Street and West 7th and been to the parades, and Jen got vulcanized, and tell us a little bit about that. Is that something you guys always do? Is that part of your tradition, or?
Well, the Vulcan mark with the V, is that what happened? You got smudged?
I call it vulcanized.
Okay, it's the mark of the Vulcans, and what that does is throughout Carnival, nobody right now has the mark of the V.
Okay.
And so Boreas thinks he's safe, and so he builds an ice palace throughout the week, or the next 17 days. What happens is that more and more people are saying, I don't think I want winter forever.
Right.
Mark me with the V. So we start marking people, and Boreas begins to look around and say, more and more people are against me. And it's basically a coup d'etat. It's an overthrow. And
That
when
everybody participates.
that everyone does. And by the end of the carnival, on the overthrow, we try to mark every single person so that this park will be filled with people who have the V on their cheek. And when Boreas looks out, he's saying, I think I'm in trouble. And the queen says, I think we better leave.
Better get out.
And out of good counsel, they leave town. We usher in spring. We announce spring is on its way. Everybody cheers. And we really.
Well, I'll tell you what, after a foot of snow yesterday, we're so glad you guys are here. We're looking forward to the overthrow of winter. And Tony and Nikki, I bet you guys are jealous. You're not here in Rice Park with these great guys. And we're going to actually, we're going to talk a little bit more with them a little bit later on about the snow park. And you guys can tell us a little bit about some of the activities you guys have going on for families. And I think we're about ready to wrap it up here from Rice Park and the, for now, frigid north. It's John and Jen, the Vulcans, we're signing off.
All right, great. You guys look great out there. All right.
All during the winter.
It's fantastic. I mean, I bet that there's few places in the world that celebrate winter like St. Paul. Truly, we have such a great winter celebration that's been going on 130 years, which many places can't say. So, you know, we've built up this reputation as being one of the premier winter celebrations in really the world, and that only grows, I think, year after year. And you know, backdrop behind us here is kind of a big kind of piece of that this year with the Ice Palace.
But that's not the only thing going on, right? I mean, like last weekend we had Red Bull Crashed Ice, and that was like, that's always I love seeing the new mayor get up there, and you know, Mayor Coleman was always pretty good on with the skates, but the new mayor showed his chops too, didn't he?
Pretty darn good.
Yeah, he did well. You know, I don't know if everyone knows, but Mayor Carter had been going down the track with Mayor Coleman for the last few years at least, so he's been experienced in that, and he definitely held his own this year, testing out the track. We had another great year with Red Bull Crashed Ice. Huge crowds came out to watch that event with not only the competition but the street party down on West 7th that coincides with that. So another great year that really helped kick off our winter season here, leading right before into Winter Carnival, and we're so excited about that as well.
Yeah, that's only grown, you know, year after year, and it's such an international event, and you know, the setting with the cathedral and the course that's set up, you know, I don't think there's anything in the world that compares to it. No, I really don't.
It's really unique, and it's in my position with media relations at Visit St. Paul, I get to host and show travel writers from around the world St. Paul and encourage them to write good things about our city. And part of that, every time we stop at the cathedral, is explaining, oftentimes in the middle of summer, what this crazy event is that happens right here on the steps of the cathedral, and it's almost impossible to really describe it. You just kind of have to show them a video or show them photos to really give them an idea of what it is.
Yeah. We've been there, and you know, we've enjoyed all the things that go on associated with the crashed ice, and you know, it's really something. If you've never seen it, or if you've never been to it, you got to show up one year.
It's something you got to see at least once.
You got to see it to believe it. It's really amazing.
You can't even, like you said, you cannot describe it.
So if I'm a first-time visitor to St. Paul, and you know, but I just think St. Paul's really one of the greatest cities. It's really a phenomenal city, but if I'm a first-time visitor here, I'm coming here for a convention, or I'm coming here for the Super Bowl. What do you tell the travel writers, or what do you tell people? This is what you have to do here.
Sure. You know, I think that's really actually a hard question, because in my opinion, there's quite a long list. It's not one easy, simple little thing. I mean, it's so many things that make St. Paul great. A big piece of that, a huge piece of that, is definitely the diversity of our city. I think it's not as well known that St. Paul is such a great, diverse city. We have such great mixes in our, you know, any chance that display. People are beyond that. You know, I just encourage them to dive into. We have some great content that highlights so many different facets of our city, and I think from, you know, finding out where those great food spots are, the best juicy St. Paul.
And where is that? Where can you say, or is that like?
You know, if you're asking me, it's the Nook or Shamrocks, yeah. But there's there's a lot of great options for that, as you know, so many. But just those kind of insider looks of what we can do is we kind of highlight those insider looks of what locals here think is the best.
And and St. Paul has such great neighborhoods, right? So Frogtown, the East Side, Summit, Selby, Grand Ave. I mean, there are just really great. I mean, that's the great thing about the city, is that it's made up of phenomenal neighborhoods.
It is,
and they each have their own character.
They do, yeah. I mean, each are worth checking out, because each one is almost completely different. I mean, from downtown, you get really the big city feel in downtown, and just 5 steps out of downtown, you have a much different feel. Whether that's up in Cathedral Hill, West 7th, you make your way over to the east side. Just each neighborhood, it truly is different and has so much to offer, and that's something we definitely tried to do at Visit St. Paul. Really proud of the insider guide that we produced and put out the last couple of years, really highlighting insiders from different neighborhoods and having them explain what's so great about their neighborhood and their home.
That's great. Yeah, we really enjoyed living here, and it's like I said, it's phenomenal. And you have a very active local. We're broadcast to bars. There's a very active brewery scene. I mean, there's a historical basis for it, but it's a very active and very vibrant brewers that have set up shop here.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys support or you promote, or does your organization take a role in promotion of those?
Yeah, absolutely. I personally am just a big fan of craft beer. I think it's a great way to travel and experience the city is through craft beer, and so we've tried to do everything we can to support that. We have a craft beer experience microsite within our website that really highlights that craft beer scene, because as you mentioned, so much of the beer history that really is not only important to Minnesota, but really important to the entire country, really started here in St. Paul. Ham, Schmidt, some of those really big beer names really got their start here. And so beer's always been a very important piece of St. Paul and our culture here. And so we just try and embrace that and encourage people to come here, learn about it, and then experience everything we have today, including the brewery that probably opened up 5 minutes ago, because one's opening up every minute.
And there's also people who love sports, and setting aside Crash Dice, but if you love sports, this is a great sports town. I mean, you've got the Minnesota Wild, you've got the St. Paul Saints. Tell us a little bit about about the importance of sports to the city.
Yeah, it's really been important for a long time. Minnesota Wild, I think, obviously is kind of one of the biggest pieces of that, with 20,000 people almost selling out every time they play a home game. But hockey's been a very important piece of St. Paul, well before the Minnesota Wild. Even though the North Stars back in the day weren't playing in St. Paul, we have a statue over there for Herb Brooks, one of our most famous and loved St. Paulites.
Saw that.
So hockey's always been very important here, and so it's done very well here ever since the Wild set up shop here in downtown St. Paul. But the Saints have been going for a long time, and just such a love following by people here. And that's one of the best things, I think, from a visitor perspective, is that you can come here and you can experience the state of hockey in the capital city of the state of hockey. Experience, in my opinion, weirdest, most fun baseball experience you'll ever have, because it's like nothing else. If you've been to a Saints game, you know that they're just extremely different, but all in good ways.
And you know what? It's really led to the development of that when they built the new stadium, and it's a great ballpark. But that really led to a whole rediscovery of Lower Town, and it's pretty amazing when you go down. If you've never been down there, to see a St. Paul Saints game. Most of our watchers have been to the XL, but if you haven't been to the St. Paul Saints game this summer, hang out there. It's really a wonderful experience.
Absolutely, and I think that was kind of a really important factor. The success down there that led to Minnesota United soccer team's new stadium, going to be out in the Midway area of St. Paul, so we're excited for them to come on board in the near future here. But that it's also been more than baseball down there. CHS Field now, starting on January 25th here, right in the next couple days, is going to have a Securian Super Slide which is a super slide from the Securian level that you can go down on an inner tube through a snow slide down onto the field. That'll run through February 10th.
Well, we'll have to do that. And thanks, Nick.
Yes.
Nick from Visit St. Paul. Visit stpaul.com. Check it out. Check out all the great things the city has to offer. And thanks again, Nick, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Great.
All right, thank you
We
guys.
got a little photo to introduce our next segment.
Okay.
So these are the guys. You know, we got a little snow yesterday. I don't know if you're aware of that, but we got a couple inches of snow, and you know, that doesn't deter us. You know, we love winter, and we embrace winter. And the guys are out at the snow park, the Vulcan Snow Park, working hard yesterday, and there's a picture of them. So and we're here. So thanks for bringing that along tonight. And we're here with Jen, and I are here with Tony, and on this end. And so you're going to tell us a little bit about what's going on.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I would love to introduce to you the Vulcan Snow Park. This is a thing of passion for these guys. As you saw that picture, it's just unbelievable the passion that these people have. They are out there in the snow all day long yesterday, putting up scaffolding for the light show that we're going to have and the huge slide that we're going to have. Vulcan Snow Park, we make over 100,000 cubic feet of snow, which is enough snow to cover 2 football fields 6 inches deep.
Wow.
So it's
amazing.
Unbelievable. So we make that, and then Mother Nature came along yesterday and dumped another
Just dumped
foot
it on you.
us.
Just dumped it on you.
So we're working hard, and it's unbelievable. These guys.
Okay, so for the uninitiated, tell us, go through what the Vulcan Snow Park is, where it is, when it's open. Hit us with your best pitch.
All right. Well, Vulcan Snow Park is a community-oriented thing. Everything is free. Well, not everything. We do charge $2 for the slide, but if you fit 4 people on the slide, it's just $2.
Oh.
So that's only 50 cents a person. Mm-hmm. Let's see you go somewhere else and do that. So it starts January 26th, runs through February 11th. The slide is open all 17 days that we're open. If you go to mnsnowpark.com, that is where you'll find all the information, all of our hours, all the different things that we have going on out there. We have snowboarding, we have the hill, we have the state competition for snow sculpting. That's this Friday through Sunday.
Oh, cool.
We have tractor races on ice, quarter scale car racing on ice. We're going to do a Barstool. All you people out in the bar land out there, we're going to be doing a Barstool race.
No, okay. Oh, just a second. A couple things caught my attention. A tractor race on ice.
Yes.
Okay.
These guys have souped up. So they take the blades off their lawnmowers.
Okay.
They put extra big engines in them. Okay. They're going to put studs on the tires.
Tony, listen up. This is you next year.
They're going to run around that course, and they get up 50 miles an hour.
Oh my
it's insane.
goodness.
Do they have to give you sign a waiver, a waiver of liability?
Yes,
anything like that?
they have to sign waivers, and then they also have their own insurance.
Oh, that's good. Good. That's good to know. And in the Barstool Race.
The Barstool Race. So
This sounds like something I could do.
I was thinking.
I can kind of do that, yeah.
the Barstool Race is teams of 3 people.
Okay.
You can take a bar,
The 3 of us.
Barstool,
Okay.
and you put it on skis.
Oh my goodness.
And you have one person that rides down the hill, you have one person that pushes them, and you have one person that's the mechanic.
So I could be the mechanic.
Sure.
Doesn't sound like there's a lot that could go wrong with this, right? You know,
No,
nothing could go wrong. A bar stool on skis down a hill. That sounds like there's no problems with that.
So another one of the things that I want to get and touch upon is because Vulcan Snow Park is a community-oriented event, we are going to be raising 2 tons of food we're going to collect for Second Harvest Foods.
Wow. Oh, that's great.
So, I mean, you bring your can of food or your non-perishable food item out to Vulcan Snow Park, and we'll give you a free ride down the slide.
Wow.
No, you guys, you've got to support this great cause. Now, I don't mean to sound ignorant, but where is the Vulcan Snow Park?
Vulcan Snow Park is located at the Minnesota State Fair.
Well, I know where that is.
It's on the Kidway. Used to be the Machinery Hill.
Okay.
Okay.
So you just go in there, and the tractor races are going to be right by the water tower.
Oh, that's great.
You won't be able to miss it. We're going to light that water tower up. It's going to be lit up with all kinds of colors. And
Now, if I just want to go to watch, can I like get a beer or something? And do you have concessions or anything like that?
There's going to be food concessions. We have one of the concessions that we're going to have is the Freedom Truck, and all the proceeds from that truck go back to the what is the sex trade that's going on that they're very
human
concerned about.
trafficking. Yeah,
Human
there's been a
trafficking.
lot
It's a
of
big
talk
issue
about
with the
it.
Super Bowl, right?
Everything that is made from there, the profits go to bring awareness to that. So once again, everything that we do out at Snow Park is to help the community, and that's what the Vulcans are all about.
And you know what? That really came through. We did a little film, and we interviewed Joe Bennett and Bob Madsen, who are former Vulcan. I guess you're never a former Vulcan.
No, once a Vulcan.
But you're a Vulcan. And I think the one thing that I was really struck by is I'm used to seeing you guys at parades, having fun, everybody having a great time, and I didn't know that this guy was involved with Vulcans. This is really trouble. But I see everybody always having a good. He's a serious guy. He's a serious guy. No, but everybody, everybody's always having a great time. But at the heart of it, at your mission, is really to help others.
Correct.
And maybe you could talk just a little bit about some of the things that you guys do throughout the year.
Some of the events that we do is we help out Bridgeview School. That's a school for severely handicapped.
Okay.
We raise money. They've been raising money since 2006. The Vulcans have been helping to get their playground that they have. It's very expensive to get equipment for handicapped children.
Oh, sure.
So the Vulcans do fundraisers every year, a couple of them every year to help with that. There's also we help out the Wounded Warrior Project of Minnesota. They've raised over $700,000.
You're kidding me.
For that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
So
That's fantastic.
people call us up and they want to have fire truck rides, or we donate our fire trucks to events so that they can raise money for cancer patients, or just you name it, and the Vulcans are doing it. We're helping.
If you guys see a fundraiser that involves a fire truck, we came in on the fire truck tonight. It really was, it was a great experience, right? And so if you ever have the chance to kind of help out the Vulcans and help raise money for you guys and for your local community, that's a great way to do it, and it's a lot of fun. It's really a blast, and I know that probably Tony and Nikki were back in at the studio watching that and very jealous about seeing us coming on the fire truck. But it's really it's really a great thing, and like I said, if you ever have the chance to help the guys out, that's something to participate in.
Exactly.
So now maybe we've got a couple minutes left here. There's tell us about your hair.
My hair. Well, one of our Vulcan brothers, his son, found out that he had cancer. So a bunch of us said, once you start to lose your hair, we'll shave our heads. So when they shaved my head, they left a mohawk on there. And my wife said, "Oh no, shave that off right now."
Yeah,
and I said, "Oh man, really?
This is my chance."
Not only is it staying, but I'm going to dye it red for Winter Carnival.
Oh, that's really great. And it's really it's kind of it's heart-wrenching, to hear, how you a story like that. But it's also great to hear about how you guys are,
We rally around each other, and we rally around the community. So.
Yeah.
It's really a great gang, the Fire and Brimstone.
No, you guys have a really good. And do you want to introduce these two guys? And before we sign off?
Sure. This is Neil back here. I don't know if I can get out of the way there. This is Neil. He's one of the guys in that picture that you saw in the beginning. And this is John Mays Maslowski. He's the guy that comes up and makes all the mazes and comes up with the ideas for them and helps build them. So,
well, you guys, we're all going to go on out to the state fairground and hang out at the Vulcan Snow Park and enjoy a great time. We really appreciate everything you guys do for the community.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for being here with us tonight.
All right.
You're awesome. You guys made the show.
We're gonna have to probably do that next.
Perfect.
Have a good
Yeah.
night.
Okay, great.
We're
Thank
out.
you very much. Thanks,
Thank
Tony. Yeah,
Yo,
appreciate it.
all right, we are
we
throwing
on
it.
now?
Yes, you guys are on.
Live? Hey, Tony.
Yeah,
Tony and Nikki, how you guys doing?
we're doing
We're
great.
good.
And you
It
guys
looks
look like.
warm in there.
Oh yeah, we are fine. We got the
It's
heat
warm in
on.
there.
We can see your breath. And
Yeah.
so,
It's
So we're
it's a balmy 20 degrees here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing compared to the 30 below temps that we've been having.
we get overtime pay for this.
yeah, right.
Yeah, 20 degrees can feel like a heat wave, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So we're here with Tim, and Tim was telling me a little bit about some trivia. He's kind of a trivia expert.
Oh.
And he mentioned something about the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's a real sore subject.
Yeah.
Like in this neck of the woods. And so I was watching this. I was watching on KSTP last night, and they were interviewing some of the people who were coming back from the game in Philly, and they said that the Philadelphia fans were not like Minnesota nice, right? And they were throwing drinks on people, and it was a very raucous environment at the stadium. And I'm just going to contrast that with Minnesota, right? So we beat the Saints. And we appreciated the sportsmanship of the kicker or the punter, right, who got injured, but came out for the final play. Minnesotans raised $220,000 for that kicker's charity.
Wow.
Versus Philly, where they beat the crap out of us, and they're throwing drinks on us to rub salt in the wounds. And so I guess it just says something about what a great place Minnesota is. Yep. And Tim, what a great place Rice Park is, right? I mean, isn't this great tonight?
Doesn't get much better than this. And fun fact, Rice Park is actually older than Central Park in New York City.
I had no idea. Has it always been this size?
It's always been this size. It's a great little hangout. During the summer, it's quite the hub of activity with a lot of food trucks. My wife happens to work right down there, and once a week she'll come hit a food truck. And it's beautifully lit here in the wintertime with all the Christmas lights and obviously with our great ice palace.
Right. And so, one of the things that we like about I personally, I'm a sucker for parades, right? I mean, I just love, if there's a parade in a small town or a big town, Mardi Gras, I mean, I got to see it, right? You guys have a great parade.
We actually have 3 parades, John.
You have 3?
We have 3 parades. So the first parade we have is actually this coming Thursday, so 2 nights from now. It's called our Moonglow Parade.
Okay.
And it's a pedestrian parade, and it's actually open to the public to participate. It starts down 401 Robert Street, which is kind of the lobby of the local St. Paul Area Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And then we just get a bunch of people that come together, and we walk up walk up 5th Street. We've got a bunch of hot air balloon baskets blow in the air, and then they're all going to end up here in Rice Park, and that's when they're going to do the grand lighting of the Ice Palace. But,
that's great.
People, the general public, are welcome to come join in. Usually people wear things that are glowing, and like glow necklaces, or those tubes like glow sticks. And we have about 100 visiting queens from other festivals, from Minnesota festivals. They have what's called their Queens Weekend, so they come down and they're in the parade. We've got visiting dignitaries from other festivals at the Winter Carnival Royal Family visits. Those festivals come visit us. So we'll have people from Florida and Canada and San Antonio, Texas, Macon, Georgia, Tallahassee, Florida. In fact, I always joke that the royal family goes to Florida in April. The Florida people come here in January, so we get the better end of that.
I think they get the short stick for that one. And so that's the first parade.
That's the first parade. It's just like it's just like a little kickoff. It's just a fun little pedestrian parade. And then the granddaddy is the one that's on Saturday. It's our Grand Day parade. That's at 2:00. That's the biggest of the 3 parades. It starts at 2:00, and it starts down on Smith Avenue and 7th Street, comes up West 7th, and ends up right here in Rice Park. And the last three, some huge crowds.
Yes.
This year, 80 units. We've got a lot of visiting royalty from other community festivals. The St. Paul bouncing team is fun.
Yes.
That one gets the crowd going. If you haven't seen the bouncing team, they bounce young women that are rather petite up into the air off of like one of those old fireman's blankets that they jump out of a building and they land on the blanket. Well, they do is they pull it out at once and the girl gets thrown up into the air.
Tim, they're lighting it up for you. I mean, back behind you.
That was part of my contract. I told them that I would only do this if it was lit up for me.
Yeah, right.
And so that goes from 2:00 to 4:00, ends right here in Rice Park. And then this Rice Park will be a hub of activity that day with, it's going to be a beautiful day. We've got the Ice Palace. We got things going on in Landmark Center. So it's going to be an awesome day.
I think we saw it, what was that, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but it was bitterly cold, and I think we had to jump into McGovern's once or twice.
I was actually a member of the royal family in 2014, and it was bitter cold.
That was the one we were at.
And then the year after that, so it would have been 2015. The daytime air temperature was 35 degrees, but there was not a cloud in the sky and there was no wind, so it felt like it was about 50.
Oh.
And then crashed ice was going on right across at the Capitol. And then we also had a college hockey tournament over at the Excel Center.
Wow.
So there was about 100,000 people watching that parade because of all those things combined, because it was a beautiful day, lots of activity going on.
Amazing.
It was crazy.
And so that's the second, and you said there's a third parade.
Our third parade is our Torchlight Parade, which is actually being held 2 weeks after the Grand Day Parade, because it normally would have fallen on the Saturday before the Super Bowl, and there's just no way we could have accommodated that with the police and all that. They're going to be busy helping out with the Super Bowl. So Winter Carnival added a weekend, so it's actually February 10th. It's a Saturday at 5:30, and that actually starts at the other end of town. The Grand Day Parade starts on this end of town. The Torchlight Parade ends on the other side. Starts on the other side of town by the Saints Stadium. If you've ever been to a Saints game, it starts right down there, and it comes up 4th Street, and it's also right here in Rice Park. And at the end of that, we have little fireworks, and that's where King Boreas gets overthrown by the Vulcan crew. And that one, we probably got about 70 units. That unit, what's neat about that one, about that parade, is that all the entries are typically lit up. They've got some sort of lights on it. The Unicycle Club always participates, and they put lights in their tires, and it's just beautiful to look at. It's a little smaller in terms of the numbers of entries, but it's beautiful to look at with all the lights and those hot air balloon basket flames when they pull them. The crowd loves them. The light rail lines don't love them, so we have to be careful when we pull them. But the crowds love them because it warms them up, and everybody's like, we want some heat, and they turn it, and it's a blast, no pun intended. But
I think we were looking forward to that when they were when they were lighting those off.
Fun.
Yeah. And so, what's your favorite part about the Winter Festival?
I just love the people. I love you get people from all over that come down here. They come down to see the parade and have a good time. It's just good, clean, family fun, lots of stuff to do. I just love St. Paul. I've never actually lived in St. Paul, always in a suburb of St. Paul, but I just love St. Paul, and it's just neat to see. It's such a neat little area, so many people having fun and celebrate winter. I'm a cold weather guy.
Right.
That's why I'm not wearing any gloves. I'm a cold weather guy. So I love celebrating winter.
And with the Super Bowl coming up, it's you get a whole new group of people who are going to be exposed to Winter Carnival and the parades. And do you have anything special planned, or is it kind of business as usual?
I would say it's business as usual. We've got some people from the Olympics coming in to demonstrate. I believe there's I'm forgetting who they are, but we've got some Olympic athletes that we're going to have them here. We're going to have let's see what else we've got. We're part. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Those darn Vulcans. Northwind. What else? Well, obviously we got the Ice Palace, because we don't typically do those for just anything.
Right.
And then see what else we have coming up for the Super Bowl. I'm totally drawing a blank right now. So the second weekend of Winter Carnival is when the Super Bowl weekend is.
Right.
And so we are going to do more ice sculptures this year.
Okay.
Because
and those will be right here.
They'll be right here in Rice Park. We're going to be we have a snow ice sculpture contest. And sometimes by the time the second weekend comes around, because of the sun being higher in the sky, they'll start melting. We are going to be refreshing those throughout the week and have more of them, so that the visitors who are coming in from the Super Bowl with the light rail will drop them just blocks away, so they can come see these great ice sculptures, and it'll be a fun time.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you've never come down to St. Paul for the Winter Festival and Winter Carnival and the parades, you're missing out, because I'm telling you, it's a great way to spend an afternoon. So, Tim, thank you very much.
Jen, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And thanks for being here today.
You bet, my pleasure.
So great. Tony, I wish you guys were here.
Yeah, so do we. It looks like you guys are having a lot of fun, and we can't that sculpture behind you lit up like that. Did you see that? That looks amazing.
No, it was part of Tim's contract.
Yeah, part of my contract. They'll be turning that up shortly.
Yeah, that is just great. All right, well, we've got the 58 ball coming up here with already $4,700 in prizes, so we're going to see what we can do with that.
All right, awesome.
So look, everybody.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Fortunate tonight. We have the architect of the Ice Palace here tonight.
Wow.
John Culligan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And we're really, really pleased. And we just learned a little bit of trivia from John, and that John was a Vulcan back in '85. He said the statute of limitations is worn off, so he can freely.
Let's hope.
For most crimes, it's
You
worn
just
off.
got him in trouble.
I think we
No crimes. No crimes.
No, I'm just all you guys are real solid guys. So it's really a big honor to be the architect of the Ice Palace. I mean, this Ice Palace has been built for over years.
Yep.
And the centerpiece of the Carnival.
Certainly has been, and going back to 1886 when the Winter Carnivals were started, it was an opportunity for the city and the community to basically wow the world and welcome the world to Minnesota with the idea of trying to grow the whole, and so they decided to do that by showing how to celebrate winter. And one of the major items in 1986, obviously, was the Ice Palace.
Right. And how do those, when you, as an architect, how do the history, how does that inform your design?
Well, it does, because you can't not go back and look at the wonderful structures that have been built over the last 130 years. Our design behind us, the 2018 Palace, is really a modern, iconic interpretation of many of those past palaces. It has all of the elements of a palace. It's got a moat back there. It's got a moat, and it's got stepped battlements, and it's got a balcony, and it's got obviously these beautiful spires. Mm-hmm. So they all are reflective of all the palaces of the past with a modern twist on it.
And how do you become an architect for an ice palace? Obviously, your practice is much wider, but how did you get into understanding how to build an ice palace? I mean, there's got to be like structural or other issues that you have to deal with that are very unique.
Well, absolutely. I mean, these are masonry buildings, only they're a little slipperier.
Yeah.
And over the last 3 years, I've been involved with many of the contractors and all of the engineers developing small palaces that have been also located in Rice Park. And through the course of this development and utilizing the expertise of many of the contractors that worked on the palaces in '86 and '88 and '92, it's really transferring the information that is being handed down.
Right.
Because we're using tools to harvest the ice from Green Lake up near Spicer with tools that are practically and the technologies are being used that were used when they built the original palaces. So it's really phenomenal.
And you can see that. So are there any specific structural concerns about working with these massive blocks of ice? They're huge. When you walk through, you can't imagine. They're huge.
These ice blocks are 22 inches wide by 44 inches long by 16 to 18 inches deep, depending on how thick the ice is on the lake.
Okay.
And they weigh over 600 pounds.
Wow. Each one.
Each block. And so we've got, I think, plus or minus 3 million pounds worth of ice down there. And so from a structural perspective, we are looking at it as a bearing wall construction. We've got a lot of scaffolding back there that is supporting many of the high towers. And fortunately, I've got my structural engineer's phone number, so he comes
right?
and, I call him all the time. So
it's a big team that's working on it.
Doing this.
So this was a 3-year process from start to finish?
Well, it's been a 3-year process learning about the ins and outs of designing a palace. This structure started in, I think, the first week in December.
Okay.
We've had a few stops and starts.
Okay.
We're going to have a much larger palace up at the Capitol, but fortunately, we're able to raise enough funds to build this spectacular palace behind me in what is really Rice Park, which is really the heart of downtown St. Paul. And the idea here is that, as in 1886, we get an opportunity again with the Super Bowl coming to town, so that we get to welcome and wow the world again, as they did in '86. And so we're really excited about that opportunity to, welcome the world, show them how much fun we have as Minnesotans celebrating Minnesota winters,
right?
And showing them all the crazy, wild things that we do here to keep our sanity,
keep ourselves entertained.
Right.
Well, but and also Rice Park. A lot of the buildings have been here probably since the late 1800s.
Yep.
So you're really dealing with a historical context for this palace, where future generations can kind of go and look and see how every one of the 36 kind of dealt with what was going on during the time and dealt with being in this great park downtown.
Yeah, there are wonderful photographs that I've seen of a palace in 1917. So over 100 years ago, palace was built right behind us, not as large, but an absolutely stunning palace that we looked at and went, we were excited about it because you get an opportunity to see what your forefathers did, and there's an opportunity for us to ratchet it up a little bit and change it out a little. But again, it's about the history. It's about the community coming together to build these palaces together, and it definitely takes a very large team. All of the design and construction professionals, the union tradesmen with all of the knowledge and expertise, and then all of the sponsors that have been stepping up here and making this a reality. There is an opportunity still, if you'd like to go to the Winter Carnival website, you can buy your own block supporting the palace, and love to have everyone come down, please, and see the palace. It's, the ice always melts, but ice palaces memories are frozen in time.
And you mentioned about it melting, and Jen and I were talking, it's going to get up to the 40s for a couple days this week. Does that pose problems to you guys?
Well, we'd rather have it stay cold.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. In years past, the weather has also gotten warm. Vulcanus Rex is having his way already.
No doubt.
And a little too early, so back it off, Vulcanus. But we have got the structure in place that we should be able to take care of some of the melt off that we'll see. But we're even thinking of maybe draping the south wall, with some white poly to protect it a little bit. But as it freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws, it gets colder at night, freezes again, and so we're confident that things will be fine.
And the lighting is really dramatic. Did you design the lighting, or was that part of your team? Did you bring in a lighting person? Well, because it really is phenomenal.
Well, yes, and this isn't even it yet.
Oh, really?
Oh, no.
That's great.
I mean, it's the show corps is one of our design team members, and they're designing the lighting, and so every time. The lighting right now is shining on the outside of the walls. The inside is where all the lighting is in the towers. And
wow.
You're going to have, and it's going to be all sorts of colors, and they're going to represent the I don't know if I'd mentioned, but the towers, we have 6 towers back here, and the 2 main towers represent, it is about the legend of the carnival. And so we've got Boreas and Queen of the Snows Aurora. Those are the 2 main towers. They will, lead the overall carnival events, and then Boreas's 4 brothers representing the winds.
Well,
so
you know what? It's we could stay here and talk for a long time with John, but thank you very much for coming by, and it was really informative. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Come to Carnival.
We're the only ones that have gloves on. What's going on?
We don't eat over there. Back to the Winter Carnival
from Rice Park, and we're here with quite a crew. And we're really excited that we've got the guys that are responsible for the construction of the Ice Palace. And because there's so many of you guys, why don't you introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about how this thing got built. So go ahead.
My name is Jeff Carlson. I am the president and CEO of Park Construction.
My name is Jim Watsky. I'm the project manager on the Ice Palace.
My name is Mike Goodnick. I'm the general superintendent of the Ice Palace.
And my name is Joe Gallagher. I'm the project manager from the St. Paul Winter Carnival side of the Ice Palace. And I'm actually born and raised in St. Paul, about a mile away from the Ice Palace. And my mother was Queen of the Snows in 1957. and I was a junior royalty prime minister of the St. Paul Winter Carnival. And 2 years ago, I was the North Wind Prince of the St. Paul Winter Carnival. So when the opportunity came to help out with the Ice Palace project, I was honored to jump in, and just a pleasure to be introduced to these park folks on my left here, and a joy to watch them oversee the building of the 2018 Ecolab Ice Palace.
You know what? Were you involved with park construction, involved with the entire project from harvesting the ice, or how did? So when did your role start? You were obviously, it's a 3-year planning cycle. You were involved with project planning, integral. Tell us a little bit about the process from your point of view, and what made you want to become involved with this crazy project?
Well, first of all, we were approached by the St. Paul Winter Carnival back in January of 17.
Okay.
And at that time, the Winter Carnival was shooting for a much larger winter ice palace. I think they were trying to go for a winter world record.
Wow. Okay.
So that's when we started our planning. They had some conceptual drawings done by the Cunningham group, and I engaged my team, Jim Mutzke and Mike Gutnick, and we started designing and estimating the cost to do so.
Sure.
In the meantime, St. Paul Winter Carnival went out on their feet and knocked door to door and tried to get some donations to build this huge ice palace. Well, that didn't come to fruition.
Sure.
So we had to go to Plan B.
Yeah.
And that was at the last minute.
Though this is very impressive, guys. I mean, it's spectacular.
Yeah, it is spectacular. We're very proud of it. When they asked us, I said, "An ice palace, huh?" Well, we move dirt. We pour concrete. We put asphalt down. We wreck things. But building an ice palace, we've never done that before.
Right.
So, again, I handed it off to my team, Jim Mutzke, and he can tell you some more on how they actually, the process of going through building it.
Yeah. So Jim, what's it like? It's got to be really interesting to do something like this.
It's like trying to put a puzzle together blindfolded.
Okay.
Well, you have when we started, it was a year ago, and the plan kept changing, and then that one got scrapped in September or October.
Oh.
And this one came to light the early part of December. The final drawing, we had the announcement on whatever day it was in December, and the final drawings were not done until about 4 days ago.
Okay.
So it was constantly in flux. We've had about 2 weeks to put it together. We started on the process with cutting ice on January. When did you start, Mike? January 5th? January 2nd. We started. Mike took his team out to Green Lake and Spicer, and the wind chill was 40 below.
Yeah, that was a nice warm stretch we were having.
Yeah, and I'll let him tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Well, we went out there, and the people of Green Lake and Spicer have been excellent. Mm-hmm. They treated us with welcome hands and offered us things. They brought us donuts from locals, and it was just great to be a part of that. And We Cut was fabulous to work with. They were the ones that cut the ice for us.
Okay.
And they're from that local area.
Which is important, right?
Right. And they do all other cuttings for other festivals, so that's why we had to go there for ours this year. And we started cutting. It took us 3 days to cut 2,000 blocks, and we started bringing them to the store. And they float them up a channel, and then we put them on pallets and get them ready to truck to the cities.
So when you see them on pallets around here, that's how they come off. Once they float off the lake, you put them on pallets, put them on a truck, and
yes, we shipped about 57 loads here from there, averaging about 70 to 78 blocks a load.
I bet that got a lot of looks on 35 when they're coming down here, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. And so you unload it, and then you have blueprints or plans or
once the blocks are unloaded, they're sized.
The puzzle
parts here to make them uniform in size. We had a lot of 22-inch blocks and a lot of 18-inch blocks. So we decided to make 17.5-inch blocks, and that's what most of the tower is built out of.
Okay.
The two central towers are actually the last tower in the central. We ran out of the 22-inch blocks, so we were working with ice that was thinner, so we dropped it down to 15 inches. But we had a saw that every block was run through the saw before it was moved to the picking station and hoisted up into the structure.
And tonight you're having a special event honoring your union workers and the people who participated in this. Everybody's got to be really proud to be associated with, you know, something historic like this, right?
We're very proud of our people.
Yeah. And you're going to be leading the parade. The Moonglow Parade is the workers, union workers are going to be the kind of honorees for being out here in the cold and snow. And any complaints from the guys?
Not a one.
Not a one. That's great. They're all happy to be here, right?
40 below. They're taking ice out of the lake.
Oh, I can only imagine.
The block layers. Yesterday was it? Just the snowstorm. 12 hours.
Yeah.
In the baskets on top of this thing in the wind.
Can hardly imagine.
They came down at 6:30 last night and they were soaked through to the skin, cold to the bone, and they weren't ready to quit.
Yeah.
We just said, guys, it's enough. We'll finish tomorrow.
Yeah. And we got about a minute and a half left. Tell us a little bit about the production aspect.
So now my job actually starts. We've been contacted from media around the world, Japan, and all over. And what we'll start doing is we'll start organizing media days at the Ice Palace. We'll have some VIPs coming in. And then the most important part is the children. To see children come visit it, stand outside the fence, it's absolutely second to none. So the greatest part is going to be able to see them walk the grounds. We light it on Thursday. The park construction and the union lights it. And we're open until February 10th. And it's free to the public. We have Metro Transit buses. We have the Green Line. Come on down to Rice Park. Visit us here. Get a great price. It's free.
It's free, and there's live music venues. There's an ice bar. There'll be ice sculptures throughout the park. It's beautiful. Guys from Park, and really, thanks so much for everything you've done to bring this community asset to life, and thanks for being with us here tonight.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Under very trying circumstances, no less.
To be part of it.
Yeah,
it's an honor.
Great. Thank you very much, guys.
All right,
appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, we are back.
So we're going to end the night with a bang here. We've really had a great time. I can't let you guys know. I can't express how much fun we've had. And we're joined here, with the Royal Court of the Winter Carnival. And it's really a true honor for us to be here and have these folks show up and spend some time with us to wrap the show tonight. So we're going to have everybody introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about the characters that they're playing.
I'm Tim Simplot. I'm the Prime Minister. I'm basically the Chief of Staff.
My name is Kristen Oster. I'm sponsored by Dunham's in West St. Paul, and I am Klondike Kate 2017, the Mistress of Fun and Frivolity for the St. Paul Winter Carnival.
I am your Captain of the Guard, Chris Cruz, sponsored by the Royal House of FFP Wealth Management.
Kingsguard Romeo Perez, sponsored by Bungalow Inn of Lakeland, protector of the realm of Boreas.
Sam Rand, Kingsguard, sponsors are LCS and Mama D's Castle Tap.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Paterka. I am Prince of the North, and I'm Titan 58 from the Royal House of Hamnick's Decorating.
Good evening. My name is JoJo Smith, and I am sponsored by Vocal Essence. I am the Princess of Snowflakes and Cold.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Laughlin. I am the Prince of the East Wind. I'm the mischievous, irresponsible one, and I am sponsored by Donald's Uniform.
Good evening. My name is Jory Lexon, sponsored by the Royal House of Quality Refrigeration. I am the dependable West Wind, which is the cowboy.
Yeehaw! My name is Molly Ruther. I'm the 2017 West Wind Princess from the Royal House of River Run Team Remax Results, and I'm this guy's counterpart.
Hello, my name is Steve Ploss. I'm the 2017 Southwind Prince.
Ole, everybody. Basically, my role is to go ahead and bring the warm, balmy weather. Here you go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elena Hammond. I'm sponsored by the Royal House of the Rice Street Festival, and I'm the sassy Southwind Princess. Ole, baby.
Ole, baby.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lindsay Sandoval, and I am sponsored by Amber Graves with Coldwell Banker Burnett, and I am a Royal Queen of the Snows.
Hello, everyone. I'm King Boreas of the St. Paul Winter Carnival, Jason Bradshaw, sponsored by Bradshaw Celebration of Life. And my role this year is leader of this family, and we've had an absolutely terrific year. So we're just closing in on 3 days left, and we've had an absolutely amazing time representing the city of St. Paul. So it's been phenomenal.
No, and you guys are great representatives of the city and great ambassadors for the Winter Festival and Winter Carnival. Like you said, your reign is coming to a close in a few days. There's going to be a coronation with the new court. So what's it like? It's got to be like an experience of a lifetime, and you make friendships with your fellow court members. What's been your favorite part?
Well, I'll start off by saying it's been a phenomenal year. We've made around 400 appearances all the way from Winnipeg, Canada to Bradenton, Florida. We visited all sorts of schools, nursing homes, hospitals, businesses all across the Twin Cities. And really what we are is ambassadors for the city. And it has just been spectacular being out, being with the people. I would have to say between the hospital and the nursing home visits, it's just been unbelievable. You can have some people that are just having an absolutely miserable day. And when you can bring a smile to their face, there's just nothing better. So it's been an absolutely amazing time this year.
That's great. Anyone else want to throw anything in, or?
I think one of my favorite things this year has just been the parades that we've gotten to do throughout the state of Minnesota, and then, like Jason said, Canada and Florida, and just seeing those kids and making such an impact. Really letting them know that fairy tales are real, and that they can grow up to be whatever they want to be, and just to always follow their dreams. That's just been such an amazing and inspiring thing to do.
Well, you're kind of ending your reign on a real strong note for winter, right? It's nice and cold out here. Did you want to add anything in?
Actually, if that's okay,
absolutely.
Earlier tonight we had the opportunity to visit the 1968 royal family for the St. Paul Winter Carnival. Our festival is one of the oldest in the United States, and to realize the impact that we have, that we're a part of something that big. I wear a button on my sash from 1991. No Toast, Kevin Leary, who passed away just a couple years after he was No Toast in 1991, which is our Southwind Prince. Turns out that my grandchildren, this is their uncle, their great uncle. And I didn't know that until this year when I won my sash for Klondike Kate. Wow. Winter Carnival really truly brings everyone in St. Paul together, regardless of your age, where you're from, your background, your ancestry. It's something easy for everybody to get behind this silly little legend and just be a part of something fun.
Yeah, please.
I'd like to say also that not only have we bonded with each other, we've also bonded with our counterparts, our nemesis, the Vulcan crew.
I don't think they would agree with that.
Well, we've become friends, and it's been a good year together.
Right. And so everybody knows you for your role in Winter Carnival, but there's other things that St. Paul Festival and Heritage does. They have Cinco de Mayo, and do you guys participate in other events all year round, or the parades, or what? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. I've been the chair for the last 3 years of Cinco de Mayo. Wonderful celebration, first week in May. And basically it's put on by volunteers, about 18 coordinators. We all come together starting in December and really put a game plan together to put a great celebration on St. Paul's west side. And we just do a great job. We have about 40,000 people turn out and partake in our event. Food, fun, festivities, events for children, older adults, and so on. We have a 5K fun run, and so I invite everybody out first weekend in May, and it's just a great time. And again, as you mentioned, the St. Paul Festival is behind that in a big way, and they just do a phenomenal job. So
how about a big Ole, No Toast?
Am I going to be too loud?
You might want to hand.
Yay!
That's really good. And so we had no lay. We also understand that there's might be some songs that are associated with winter.
Well, since
Carnival?
we have the princesses and Klondike Kate here, it's usually appropriate that we might have a little bit of song and merriment.
Could we do that? Did you mind?
Only for you, Bori.
See, I'm going to miss that after 3 days.
I know. He did build us this little love nest behind us. Sorry, Aurora.
It's very suited to you.
It's Winter Carnival, come on, get happy. The time to celebrate is now. Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. This Kate is here to show you how. The Vulcan crew is getting ready to start melting the snow away. King Boreas and his family will do their best to make it stay. We're headed for a good time, so won't you come along? The fun and the frolic will last from dusk till dawn. It's Winter Carnival, come on, get happy. The time to celebrate is now. Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. The Kate is here to show you how. I said the Kate is here to show you how.
That's great.
You know, these guys are a lot. They're kind of introverted. You can tell.
Very shy.
Yeah, very shy. It's a very shy group. Do we have any other side? But that was phenomenal.
Yes.
Thanks, Klondike Cake. Thank you very much.
Actually, my Wincesses and my Queen taught me a song. If they would sing it with me, I would really love it. It's.
Do we have time for one more?
The Carnival Song. The candidates had to learn before they were selected as the Queen of the Snows or one of the Wind Princesses.
Okay.
So they learned this song before they were even selected and had to go out and perform it dozens of times. And typically they don't ever sing it again once they've been crowned.
Okay.
But we're going to do it now, right?
Good. One more time. One more time.
Carnival, come to the St. Paul Winter Carnival. King Boreas will bring the ice and snow. Don't you know? Windy brothers are best, blowing north, south, east, and west. Carnival. Our queen and princesses will shine like stars at night, reigning in grace and might with royal guards to fight for our winter carnival. Carnival. We love our St. Paul Winter Carnival. Volcanoes Rex will bring the fire and heat to the street. Flames and torches blazing, royals are in for hazing. Carnival. With Klondike Kate we'll have a song and merriment. The crew will burn and flame and play a lively game. Don't miss our winter carnival.
Well,
I tell you what, Lawrence Welk doesn't have anything on them.
I don't know how we could even top that. You know, Winter Carnival starts in a couple days, runs through the beginning of February. You guys got to come on down here. Come on down to St. Paul. Come on out to Race Park. Go to the parades. Go to the Vulcan Snow Park. Just enjoy being a big part of what this city and community is all about. And thank you for being a big part of what St. Paul is all about. Thank you very much. Great.
1, 2, 3. Hail Boreas! Hail Boreas! Hail Boreas! Hail the Queen!
Thank you very much. And Tony, on that note, we're back to you.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Wow.